Hello, this is Mike Cardus, and today I'm going to share with you a simple TRIZ or problem-solving tool called DTC Operator. This tool comes from this great book called TRIZ by Gordon Cameron. I bought it many years ago when I was trying to learn more about TRIZ and creative problem solving, and many of the tools are very pragmatic and very helpful in identifying ways to create stronger conversations amongst your team, ways to break stuckness in thinking, and ways to continue developing greater conversations that will support the emergence of new ideas and innovation inside your team or group. So I'm going to share the screen here, and I built this out on Mural. I will put a link in the blog post on how to download this template in Mural itself. So you'll see here, we have what's called the DTC operator. DTC stands for dimension, time, and cost. The ideas are that it's a tool for seeing problems differently and exploring ideas of extremes in size and costs. It can work to release psychological inertia. Here on this part, I have a link to a PDF that walks through 8 routine causes of stuckness in thinking or team developments. And the process is you walk through the algorithm, you find the problem, you run it through the extremes, and you gather feedback. Now, it's important here in this process to include your team. You can do this by yourself, and that's fine. It's useful, though, to engage your team in a conversation about the challenge they're having. And the more you engage a team in their interpersonal conversations, the more they'll learn together, create team effectiveness, and drive solutions. Additionally, if you're a manager, a project lead, a team lead, whatever you are, you'll hear new ideas. For psychological safety and teams to develop, they must discuss ideas together. The more they discuss, the more they'll find better solutions. Back to the method. All right. So the first process is identify the problem or the challenge. Generally, DTC operator is set up for more technical problems. I used it in the example here with a team I was working with to identify how to create a learning and development program across a whole organization. So we identify this as a problem. Next step is you go into the actual flow itself. So we go into dimensions. D for dimensions. Dimensions. If the dimensions were huge, what would success look like? How would that happen? In what ways could that system be developed? You'll see here, the team came up with 2 different ideas. Second part of dimensions, if the dimensions were tiny, if they were small, what would success look like? How would that happen? In what ways could that system be developed? And again, the small team and I identified as 2 simple steps to think about. If it was really small, only a few people, what would we do? Next step, we went into time. If time were extremely long, what would success look like? How would that happen? In what ways could that system be developed? Or if speed were extremely slow, what would success look like? How would that happen? And in what ways could that system be developed? Looking here, we thought if we slowed down time and we had a long time frame to make this happen, decades, millennia, a longer period of time, how would it change the process? And we had these ideas put up there. Next step, if time were really short, what would success look like? Thinking here about a short time frame, you have seconds, hours, days, minutes. What would that do? And they listen to the ideas here. The third area that they listed, we're looking at costs. So costs. If costs, not just terms of dollars and cents, or in terms of harmful downsides, were extremely abundant, what would success look like? How would that happen? In what ways could the system be developed? Meaning, if we had a lot of money, if there was no limit to the costs, what could we do? If we had exorbitant funds, what could happen? Here's the idea. If costs were extremely limited, meaning we only had a little bit of money, a little bit of revenue, what would we do? What they came up with. In summary, what dimension time cost operator does is it creates a framework, a way for you and your team to kind of say, here's our problem or the challenge we're working on. Let's talk about it. By first identifying a challenge or a problem, you're creating coherence or coherent language around what do we want to work on? What do we want to focus on? What are we trying to accomplish? And then with your team, working through these three ideas, dimensions, really large, really small, time, a whole lot of time, time moves very slow, or not very much time, time moves very fast. The third area is costs. Costs. We have a whole bunch of money to do things. We have limited money to do things. Each of these steps will create different discussions and break people's existing paradigms of thinking. And when you break their paradigms of thinking, you come up with new ways to solve things. So when I share this with teams, oftentimes folks enjoy the activity. They posted things up there. They use Mural. They do it face-to-face. It's great. The next step is, what do we do with these ideas? And that's a question for you to figure out. Once your team has broken its stuckness in thinking and created broader new ideas, and they've had a rich conversation to solve challenging problems, what you do next is what matters. So I'll recommend the following thing. You go through a problem that's shared. You look at dimensions, really big, really small, time, really fast, really slow, and cost, lots of money, limited money. And from those variations, you pull the team back together and you say, all right, so we saw the dimensions, times, costs. We had a great discussion about how to go about this problem. Now that we've had that discussion, what do we want to do differently? And how will we identify what is different when we do it? Let them think for a while. Identify skill sets and development and ways to solve the problem. And then next step would be, from our discussion we just had about what to do differently, how we'll identify things, what success might look like, now choose an action to do. Create a series of small, safe-to-fail experiments where individuals or small teams of 2 or 3 people try things in consistency or coherence with each other to impact the challenge you want to see a solution on. Meaning, team A, B, C, and D work independently based upon their DTC feedback to make progress on the challenge. And as they're doing this, you pull them back together and you talk with them. As you figure things out, try the dimension, time, cost, operator challenge again with the feedback process. All I wanted to share today is a good way to use the dimension, time, cost way to break stuff into thinking and find new ways. Try it out. See what happens. Again, I'm Mike Cardus. Have a good day.